Welcome to Amirdrassil, Wing 1 of Looking for Raid LFR, with the bosses Gnarlroot, Igira the Cruel, and Smolderon. Today we are going to be talking about the first boss, Gnarlroot. To keep these segments very short and tidy, please like the video if you like this format, and keep watching for other boss videos that I'll keep as short. I always said it in the previous patches of World of Warcraft for previous Wings of LFR, and I'll repeat it again. Whether you're a tank or DPS, especially if you're a tank, you absolutely need to go to curseforge.com and download Deadly Boss Mods add-on or any other boss notifications add-on. Do not try to count stacks by yourself and taunt kind of on an instinct. It doesn't have to be so hard. Go install DBM and it will tell you exactly when to taunt. That's your main job as a tank, other than a few other things that I'll talk about here. You get into the first wing of Amirdrassil and you go left. It's kinda, if you open the map, you will see that it's a pretty straight path to Gnarlroot, to the first boss, and then the further bosses are just up ahead. Alright, Gnarlroot is a corrupted ancient that is a most useless layer of Night Elvish defense. That is just something from me. I think they are most useless, they're too slow, and they're sleeping half the time. Alright, it's a Shadow Flame heavy AoE fight. There will be a lot of debuffs and a lot of dots ticking on the whole raid. So, which is why I think that healing over time healers are going to have the best time, because they'll be counteracting naturally the dots that are going to be on the whole raid. Again, DBM will tell you as a tank when to taunt. You are pulling the ancient, obviously, and phase 1 begins. He does the Scream AoE. It's unavoidable AoE that hits everyone, and that's the first debuff that starts hitting for a few seconds, ticking for a few seconds on the whole raid. I presume that if you're a caster, you need to absolutely stop casting before he does that Scream, otherwise you will be interrupted and most likely silenced as well. I have played as DPS, I have played as tank, but I have not played as a caster in this particular fight. Then Gnarlroot, he does a fire cross kind of AoE, yeah, on the floor, very visible, hard to not see, called Flaming Pestilence. It is on the ground, and I believe, I could be wrong, maybe it's just my eyes, but it looks like it's also slowly turning tiny bit as it happens. Look, just get out of it, okay? It's very simple. He also does the Shadow Flame Cleave in front, kind of in front. Well, guess what do you do? Unless you are very special, you should get out of the frontal cleave. He also marks the few players with a bomb. Well, run out as far as you can, reasonably as far as you can, because it drops a rather large puddle, Shadow Flame puddle, and if it's all kind of clutched up in the middle, well, it's gonna be very hard to continue fighting. Phase 2 is when he goes into the middle and he says Shadow and Flame take root, and he sprouts roots, separating the parts of raid into quarters. Probably some AoE damage is happening as he's channeling this, but in LFR, it's kinda a nothing phase, to be honest with you. I've done this twice now as DPS and as a tank, and it wasn't particularly challenging in any way, shape or form. I welcome your additions and corrections in the comments down below, but again, I have not experienced any particular issues. You simply try to... It simply segments the raid into 4 quarters, perhaps, with these roots, and the only problem is that it kinda makes people move closer together, while still inflicting certain little AoE on them, such as Ember Chars, it's an AoE on you. Some of those roots he marks the players with fiery kind of AoE, little circle, so try and stay away from the others, which is obviously harder to do in those little separated segments that are separated by the roots. That's about it for that phase. After that phase finishes, the phase 2 finishes, he will be stunned in the state called Uprooted Agony. I think he takes extra damage on himself, so just slam him as hard as you can. Save your cooldowns, I would say, for that particular phase. But also that Uprooted Agony period of time stacks up to any other damage over time effects that might be on the raid, with also that Uprooted Agony 20-second Shadow Flame damage over time effect on you and on anyone else. So that's about it. Other than that, Gnarlroot is, you know, a fairly straightforward boss. I'd say it's not the easiest one of all that I've seen in World of Warcraft LFR Wings of the previous raids. It is nothing to particularly write home about. It's not too bad. And the second boss, Igira the Cruel, that we'll talk about in the next little tiny video, is right up ahead. So please like this video, stay tuned for the other one, and subscribe to the channel if you like these little guides from me. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.
Shockwave. AOE incoming.